Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. Today on the show we have a review of F1 2017. So without further ramblings, this is a very succinct intro. Let's talk. F1 2017 is the next game in a long line of F1 games. I don't need to tell you that, because if you're watching this review, you already know that. So, what we're going to do instead in this review is assume you know how the previous F1 games play and have a favourite already. Now that might be F1 2013, that might be F1 2016. I know those two shift together, but F1 2017 is like the switch from F1 2012 to F1 2013. It adds the historical stuff, the not so historical stuff from about 5-10 years ago, but it's technically historical in the game, which is a bit weird. It also improves the sound just enough to make a difference over the previous game. It also improves the handling a little bit, and I actually felt that I could control the cars easier. So this is the 2017 spec cars. I could control them easier. Now, I don't know if that's because the cars are easier to drive, or if I've just got better. Overall, the cars feel like they're glued to the ground a lot more than they did in F1 2016. Again, that might be due to the increased downforce of the 2017 spec cars, but I like it. I can now drive an F1 car alright. As you can tell by watching the video, I'm not that great, but I can drive it now without being really cautious 100% of the time. I'm still not great, but that's my driving, not the car. So in a nutshell, how good actually is F1 2017? And I'll say probably the best F1 game to date in terms of content, physics, driving feel, force feedback, sound, graphics, whatever you want to talk about. I think the game is probably on the top step of any F1 game to date. Now, I have to caveat that with saying I can't test out the co-op features or most of the online features, how stable the servers will be, how good racing online will be. There are some online features like events, which are basically like the daily challenges, the weekly challenges in the dirt games. So you pick an event and you would compete online effectively, but by yourself against a time. So you have set objectives you have to meet, be that be first, be at least sixth, lap the pack, those sort of things. They're very short, and you're put into a position in a current race that's going on. So the one in the review build that we have is your fifth, and you have to come first. You have 5-6 laps to do that in, and you're on a super soft compound, and everybody else is on a soft compound, so you are faster, and you just catch up and then overtake and come first. Now, the problem with that is every time I would come first, the game thought I was 15th. Yes, so the timing said first, I went over the line first, my drivers celebrated. You're playing as Ricardo in this event. I saw Ricardo on the podium, he showered everyone with champagne, and then the timing screen said I'd failed because I was 15th with a time of minus 50 billion or something ridiculous. So that doesn't quite work, but I will of course caveat that with the fact this is a review build, so the online features might not be fully and correctly implemented. Also, every time I tried to use a flashback, the game would crash in the events mode. Every time else it would work. There was occasional black screens, but the game didn't crash when I would change menus or pause. Coming out of the game, so alt tabbing meant that I would come back into the game and have a delay in when I could then create inputs. Luckily the game pauses, so that's okay, it's not too much of a problem, but it's worth mentioning because a lot of people will alt tab out games. Now, do any of these issues actually make me say the game is bad? No. I can't say that F1 2017 is anywhere near bad. It's got more content than previous games. Of course, as they're building on an already solid foundation of 2016, which was built on a solid technical foundation of 2015, so obviously they're building on already a decent amount of content here. They've added in a bunch of new cutscenes, which are acted by the same people as in 2016, which, okay, sure, they're fine. There's no problem with it. It gets you through a career. It makes you feel more like a driver, so that's always nice. I do like them. I wish you could skip them, because if you're doing multiple careers, you don't want to see the same things over and over again. You already know how it works. I wish you could skip them, but you can't, so that's fine to an extent if you're not playing too many careers. There are much more things during the career as well. There's these invitational events, which happen after, I believe, every race, as long as you do well. They're things like overtake challenges, lap challenges, time trials, those sort of things, but in historical cars. You drive some amazing cars. If you pre-order, you get the MP44, the McLaren MP44. It's a pretty damn incredible car to drive. It's not easy. It's harder than anything you'll probably have driven in most games. That includes all of those types of cars. Senna's car, the MP46, don't quote me on that, I always forget the names. But anyway, those cars are incredibly hard to drive, but so much fun. The steering is hard. They're not power steered, so on a wheel, you really feel the turn. You're forcing it round the corner instead of letting it drift round the corner. Not drift as in literally drift, but letting the wheel drift into the corner. You're forcing the wheel into the corner and then making the car respond. It feels more tactile. It feels more like you're driving the car instead of the car driving itself with you just helping it go around, which of course you're not in a 2017 or a newer spec car, but it feels a lot more like that compared to the physical sensation of turning a wheel. So now we get to the force feedback. Now, I'm going to talk about the force feedback in terms of Australia, because that's the only thing that I've actually recorded, so that's all you're seeing here. But Australia, not my best track by any means. I'm not good at Australia at all, but in 2016, you felt bumps quite well. The car felt lively. When you would turn quickly, you felt the wheel suddenly snap back, and it felt good. But 2017 takes it a step further. You now feel lines on the road. So obviously street circuits, you will have road markings. You now feel the road markings as you go over them. So as you're going round I call the back straight, which is basically a very long left-hander, and then you go to the fast chicane, there are lots of road markings there. If you drift across the road, you can feel the wheel rumble on them, on the road strips. And it just adds so much more depth to the game. You feel like you're on the road instead of feel like you're driving a computer game. It's probably the thing that makes the game feel more alive. It's the thing that makes you feel planted. It's the thing that makes the game feel more real. You also have track IR support. I have a track IR, so you can look around. That feels so much better than previous implementations of track IR as well. It's a lot more accurate. It feels like it's taking the raw data instead of some weird data. So track IR support is brilliant. On a controller, it's also hyper-controllable. I say hyper-controllable because it literally is hyper-controllable. It feels like it was also built for a controller, not just a wheel. That's good. All good. Brilliant. It controls great. It feels great. It sounds great. Let's just listen to some audio of me going past things. this is where everything gets less than positive. There are a number of bugs and issues that I think affect the game overall. One, my spotter engineer dude, I can't remember their name in Formula 1, doesn't talk to me. He doesn't say anything at all. I crash, a wheel goes flying. Nope, doesn't care. He doesn't care if I'm okay. When it's my pit time, he doesn't tell me. I don't know why. When there's a change of strategy, nope, no comments at all. Checked my settings, he's on. He should be informing me about everything, because that's how I like to play the games. I like my spotter or my pit crew or whatever to talk to me a lot. I know a lot of people don't, and some people will turn him off, and that's fine, but I want him on, and he doesn't talk to me. So I feel alone. I don't know what to do. I don't really feel that alone, because there's other cars on the track usually. I'm usually in a pack. But anyway, that's a bit annoying. Also, the DRS system is weird. I was 0.5 off whoever it was in front of me, and DRS wasn't allowing. I was on lap 6, and DRS activates after only a few laps. So DRS wasn't working. I was also in front of people. I'd just overtaken them before the DRS bar kind of reaches the DRS zone. So I was maybe a good 20 seconds out of the DRS zone, and it allowed me to activate DRS when I was in front of someone, and the person who was closest in front of me was 1.5 seconds or more. So well out of the DRS zone, about half a second or more out of the DRS zone. That's not great either. So there are some issues, which hopefully they'll be fixed at launch, but it's worth mentioning because they are a problem. You know, DRS not working is a bit of an issue. Your chief engineer, dude, spotter guy should be talking to you, but he's not. And obviously DRS is DRS, it's part of Formula 1, it should work as it does in Formula 1. But that's okay. They hopefully will fix it and clear it up, which is also inherent problem with release now, patch later in, modern game design. But they can do it, so why not? I mean, as long as it gets fixed, that's okay. But if you can, why not? I still don't fully agree, but never mind, that's another topic. In the actual career, let's just dive back into the career quickly. You obviously have the upgrade trees. In 2016, it was just 5 different options, and you clicked number 2 or number 3, however many points you had. In 2017, it's a massive tree that's really overwhelming because I have no idea what anything actually does. If you say improves downforce, fine, that's easy. But if it's improves front end grip via a new wing which helped downforce, okay, but how does that help me drive? I get improving downforce, I get improving grip, but why the front end only? Why not the back too? I just kind of wish there was a simple version like in 2016. I'm not technical, I don't know much about how cars work, I can't drive them too well in racing games. I'm not really that great, and if somebody likes Formula 1 and just wants to jump in and have a career, like imagine they're Alonso or Schumacher or Hamilton, if you like poncy people who cry all the time. If somebody who doesn't know technical stuff wants to jump in, they still will understand more downforce is good, more power is good, but they won't understand the intake manifold is now more severely rectified. I don't know, gobbledygook stuff that I don't get and a lot of people won't get, and I think there needs to be a advanced and simple version of that upgrade tree where maybe they just bought the one from 2016 right in. That'd be fine. But it's fine, it works. You can just press the button and your engineer will recommend something, which is okay, it's all good. Then we have, in the free practice, we have two new types of free practice things. So you've got the track acclimatization, which is brilliant. It helps me learn the tracks and get a bit faster than I would otherwise. The tyre management, which again is good. It allows me to know that I'm still keeping my tyres well. I'm quite good at that. Then we have the qualifying practice, which again, great. You can run at qualifying speeds and all is good. The new ones are fuel management, so you have to make sure you don't overuse fuel, which means coasting and braking, and I can't do it at all. I don't get how I can keep speed and lift off, you know, effectively slowing down the car before the braking point. I'm not very good at it, but that's alright. I mean, it's fine, it works, it's a good system. I'm just not good at it. Doesn't matter. Still a nice little thing to do in free practice. Then we have the race system, which damn does it work. So you run at race pace for 5 laps, or 3 to 5 laps, depending how much you want to do or how good you are. If you purple it, then 3 laps is enough, because then you get the 50 points, and it's great because I found that I did all the laps. I did it on 2 tyres, and when I went to the race and set up my race strategy, I just pressed engineer recommends, and it gave me a strategy which I was just, yep, okay, this is actually a much better strategy than what I would have done. I would have put the soft compound instead of the super soft, but they chose ultra soft and super soft. So I was on the 2 fastest compounds that Formula 1 gives, and it enabled me to come 3rd in Melbourne, which I'm not very good at. Starting 12th or something stupidly low, and that was partially down to Hamilton's AI, not Hamilton. He's still a baby, but anyway, taking 2 stops for some reason. He was way faster than me, but I managed to keep just ahead on the ultra softs for 10 laps, and perfect, came 3rd. Yeah, I mean, maybe that won't happen every time. And again, I'm just talking about Melbourne because that's all you can see, but it continued. It was always better than what I thought I could do. Yeah, it's a brilliant system that I didn't really think was needed until it was there. Well done, Codemasters, for that. So, overall, F1 2017 has a few little minor issues, which doesn't spoil the game, it just kind of hangs above it, and it's just there's these 2 little bits, the DRS and the person, pit crew dude, not speaking to you, which, okay, whatever, you can deal with, you can drive without them, it's fine, you can still do well, but yeah, they're just sort of hanging over it. Hopefully they're fixed, but alright, the rest of the game, absolutely brilliant. The event stuff, I'm guessing, will all be fixed at launch, because, you know, review builds and all that sort of stuff. Maybe the servers aren't turned on until launch. But yeah, F1 2017 is a massive improvement over 2016, which was already my favourite Formula 1 game since 2013. And yeah, it's just added a whole bunch of new content to 2017, which wasn't in 2016. A lot of it anyway, the historical stuff and the new free practice little things. It makes the game just feel more rounded and like you can sink your teeth into it a bit more. So there's my review of F1 2017. I don't score, but if I was going to score, I would give it an F1 2017 out of F1 2017. I tell you, I don't score. The game is developed by Codemasters. It's releasing on the 25th of August this year, so in just a few days. It's coming out on PS4, Xbox One and PC. For the purposes of this review, I was provided a copy of the game for free. So with all of that said, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will see you, speak to you, have a word with you, beat you up, but not actually next time. Bye.